On today's World Insight, China rolls out the red carpet for the 2025 Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Tianjin. What's likely on the agenda? Answers from a panel of insider analysts. In the panel, in Beijing, Rong Ying, a senior research fellow of the China Institute of International Studies. In Astana, Azamat Baigaliyev, an expert in international communications, political scientist, and media manager. In Cairo, Hamad Botros, a political science professor at Helwan University. In Doha, Sultan Barakat, a public policy professor at the Hamad Bin Khalifa University. In Phnom Penh, Seun, a policy analyst at the Royal Academy of Cambodia. And in New Delhi, Swaran Singh, an international relations professor at Jawaharlal Nehru University.
Hello and welcome to CGTN. I'm Tian Wei, and this is our special program on the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, SCO Shoreline Talks. The world landscape is undergoing profound transformation with accelerated evolution and geopolitical realignment, while global trade faces emerging challenges. Amid global turbulence, world leaders gather in Tianjin for the 2025 Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit. Since its inception, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or SCO, has consistently upheld the Shanghai spirit. It offers solutions to global challenges. This year's summit will spotlight sustainable development, and in this pivotal moment, one question echoes across the continent. How can we collectively turn sustainable commitment into tangible actions for our planet's future, and also to resolve some of the existing problems as we all face today? To answer those questions, let's go to our very strong panel.
More investment and stronger regional security.
Consultations and mutual respect and so on.
We cannot avoid any voice. We cannot avoid any countries.
Collaboration, harness and enhance inter-nation development.
I think it's a great opportunity, the meeting in China, to revisit some of those priorities.
Solidarity and the unity of SCO.
The Shanghai Cooperation Organization taking place at a critical time. The world is changing so much. What do you think this year's SCO Summit might be the key to provide solutions and insights on some of the biggest issues? Let me go to Professor Rong here in Beijing first. Very briefly, sir.
There are huge expectations, anticipations that, because first and foremost, this is China is the rotating chair, and very much I think sort of expectations anticipating China will play a role. Not only I think working together with other members, full members, observer states, dialogue partners, to set the direction with the forthcoming head of state meetings. But more importantly, I think provide some answers. On the question of security,
okay.
This is definitely always been a very much important subject of SCO. And also on the question of development, practical cooperation, and last but not least on the people-to-people and the cultural cooperation. But all in all, I think the expectation is something like, as the SCO has achieved a kind of 2 rounds of major expansion or enlargement, what will be the future of SCO, not only in terms of its own development, but more importantly, I think the differences SCO is going to make in terms of the region and world at large.
Let's go to a representative from countries that are members of SCO already at this moment. Mr. Baigaliyev, coming from Kazakhstan. Tell me more about your thoughts. What should be the issues that SCO Summit this year need to handle so that to make itself relevant and also to bring hope and possibility for people who pay much attention to SCO?
After the last summit in Astana, our expectations are clear, like more investment and stronger regional security. We want to see concrete projects in transport, in energy, and in digital infrastructure, especially in AI. Right now, it's like the main thing which we are worried about, the development of artificial intelligence in our country and in our Central Asia. So at the same time, it's vital to strengthen the joint work against terrorism and other threats in our region. So we need three main things: investments, digital infrastructure, and security.
What about for you, Professor Singh?
Shanghai Cooperation Organization in 2001 was set up to deal primarily with issues of energy security and terrorism. And both of these issues remain clearly very, very significant even today. But I assume the whole world today is concerned with the Trump tariffs. And some of that thought will also be, sort of issue that would kind of inspire certain amount of discussion. So there is going to be certain amount of challenge as to how cohesion is built within Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which thrives actually on consultations and mutual respect and so on. But given the difficult times that world is living today, I think Indian Prime Minister is likely to also be in Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and there is a possibility of a bilateral between Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping. Also, there could be a trilateral of President Putin, President Xi Jinping, and Prime Minister Modi. So there are multiple alignments and realignments that are taking place in a very difficult scenario at international level now. And in that, I think this Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which is world's largest regional organization, accounting for about 42% of population, 24% of area, 23% of GDP, and so on. And I think this particular meeting is also Shanghai Cooperation Organization's largest meeting, involving 20 nations, including 10 members and 10 international organizations. So I think it's going to be interesting to watch how the deliberations of the summit take place and what are the likely outcomes. Each nation goes there with certain anticipation. I'm sure they'll be able to really find out some consensus with the number one problem today of Trump's tariffs.
So what about the other three? As we know, you are coming from very different regions, from Asia, from the Middle East, from Africa, for example. I'm sure both strategic and pragmatic issues are all on your minds. What are on top of your list? Let's go to Phnom Penh.
As a country that observes in Shanghai Cooperation, I think this cooperation is very important because there are three important words that are mainly mentioned in that cooperation. The first one is the mutual trust. It means that all members that participate in the Shanghai Cooperation need to have more. Need to enhance the trust with each other. But we know that it is hard when we talk about the trust because, like Professor Singh just mentioned before this about the tariff that put by the United States on China and on India. So that is why it is important to enhance, because we need to talk, we need to discuss, we need to have the face-to-face consultation, and I believe that. The benefit, the sharing benefit with all participating countries is very important. We know that our countries, are not the same size. We have the big countries, we have the small country. So, but however, the benefit of each country is very important. So again, the trust between the country and the consultation between the countries, and especially the benefit. I'm not talking about sharing the same benefit, but the benefit for all countries, and that is very important. So we cannot avoid any voice. We cannot avoid any countries. We cannot say this country is important and that country is not important, because all related countries they must have the benefit, and they must get the respect from other countries.
So you're saying trust, benefits, and equal. That seems to be the three key words that you just suggested. Let me go to Egypt.
Actually, a mega trend, a global mega trend, reshaping priorities, placing economic development and sustainable development over political ideologies. Why? To create a more equitable, balanced, new global order. This global governance order has a keyword, which is Global South. Why? It's to harness collaboration, harness and enhance inter-nation development, collaboration between developing nations. This is a constructive word to counter the exploitation of the post-World War II global order.
I see.
That system exploited developing countries. The only way out is to unite and collaborate to create a new entity called Global South. This Global South is the way out of the vicious circle that the developing countries are muddled in.
Yeah, it seems that you want to emphasize the role of the Global South at the upcoming SCO Summit. Let's go to Professor Barakat. Middle East, of course, I'm sure has their own list of priorities. What's expected?
Well, I think this is a defining moment for the SCO, and it should be treated as such. You cannot continue with a bloc of countries on an agenda that was set up almost 25 years ago, talking about terrorism and energy security, when the world has entirely changed and moved on. There's been new shifts in supplies of energy around the world, and much bigger threats, I think, than the traditional format of terrorism that was kicked off by 9/11. And I think one of the most important ones is actually what my colleagues referred to earlier, the security and stability. Without stability and security, you cannot have prosperity. You're not going to have effective cooperation amongst the countries, the members and the associates, because, you know, regardless of the fact that it has the largest population bloc, it hasn't really been that effective.
Yeah.
And when it comes to security, you need to keep in mind that in the last 6 months or so, we've seen 4 of the members of the SCO involved in direct conflict. Security that takes into consideration the big shifts, the changes, the polarization of the world, the nature of the change, particularly within the United States. I mean, we really have to be on the ball, if you like, not only respond, but also to think into the future. And I think this bloc offers a great opportunity to do so.
More investment and stronger regional security.
Consultations and mutual respect and so on.
We cannot avoid any voice. I mean, we cannot avoid any countries.
Collaboration, harness and enhance inter-nation development.
I think it's a great opportunity, the meeting in China, to revisit some of those priorities.
Solidarity and the unity of SCO.
The SCO, its relevancy, particularly, it was earlier being perceived as a bit divided on security issue, on critical strategic issue, and on how it works with the rest of the world when hotspot issues happen. Mr. Baigaliyev, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think that in the very foundation of our cooperation is a trust between very different member of countries. So I agree with this opinion. Trust we need it because right now we have a new format of our organization. It's a SCO Plus with a lot of really strong and ambitious countries from all of the world. So That's, I think that we need the new instruments for solving really challenging problems. And we shouldn't, I absolutely agree with all speakers that we shouldn't just avoid problems of war. Right now, it's a main thing and main problem in the world. And I think that the very issue right now that all countries, are very easy starting wars, and we need a new mechanism how to prevent it. And I guess that right now, like in the very close future, we will discuss this problem between our countries.
Professor Barakat.
Well, I think the most important is to uphold international law. This is really the most important threat that is facing the world today as a result of the actions of the United States and its allies around the world. And a lot of the prosperity, a lot of the cooperation is underpinned by that set of laws where China is a member of the Security Council, but also, the other members of the bloc are very important advocates in the South, across the world, and so on. And all of them are countries that believe in multilateralism and in the importance of a lot of international organizations that have now been actively undermined by the actions of the United States. And there's a whole range, from trade agreements that have been pinned basically because Trump doesn't like it, all the way to human rights issues that have been now ignored, occupation, etc., infringement. And there is a need for a block of countries that come out and say, well, look, international law is important, and we would like to do our best to uphold it. So I think that would be maybe the foundation. And it is that that's going to protect and allow prosperity and investment in many other areas.
Professor Rong Ying here in Beijing, you don't have a final say. You are one part of the conversation, but I would love to hear your voice as well before I go to the others.
Definitely, I think even though China is one of the founding members and also is the host of this important summit, according to the rules, decision-makings of SCO, that has always to be consensus-based.
Yeah.
So the debate like that or the conversation like that are very much important. I believe it must have happened for the previous, preparatory foreign minister meetings, coordinators meetings, various like, and I would expect it may take place when the leaders sit together. That's exactly the function and the role of the leader.
But it cannot be a talk shop because there's a lot of expectation, as you can see from our guest, about this year's SCO Summit. It needs to function at this critical time it's needed. So to you, what will be the thing that actually would provide us with the entrance or, the opening gate to establish trust and also make SCO relevant in this world right now?
Yeah, that's exactly, I think, the summit have to answer. As we know, the theme of this summit, this year's summit, is called Sustainable Development SCO. And the subtitle is SCO in Action. So the key word is SCO, given the expectations, anticipations, and the challenges facing within and outside, have to give an answer. For example, on the question of security, I think SCO now it is a high time to give an answer, at least I think to try to give an answer of the questions of the complex security challenges that are facing the region, both traditional and non-traditional. In non-traditional areas, I think SCO has always been very much effective, as I can say. The three evils, the statement, whatever things, and even the cooperation, practical cooperations, despite some differences within some members.
Non-traditional?
For example, the bilateral disputes within the members and the member state, one particular member state disputes or differences with the other outside member, or in all things. And more importantly, the geopolitical rivalries, between major countries, which I think now plays a
see.
kind of a context or a backdrop of that. And SCO would have to provide the answer, to a question like that, even though it's not going to solve all the problems.
More investment and stronger regional security.
Consultations and mutual respect and so on.
We cannot avoid any voice. We cannot avoid any countries.
Collaboration, harness, and enhance inter-nation development.
I think it's a great opportunity, the meeting in China, to revisit some of those priorities.
Solidarity and the unity of SCO.
Each day, there are millions of stories. Each one can open new perspectives, new possibilities. Wherever you look, we are there to see, discover, explore. We put the pieces together to find what really matters to you, all around the world, all around the clock. Our reporters are at home across the globe. From our headquarters in Beijing and production centers in Washington, Nairobi, and London, China Global Television Network. Stories from across the globe, reaching people across the globe. CGTN. See the difference.
You might think you are better informed in an information age. The fact is, people are more often misled by misinformation. You might think every voice is heard in a digital world. The fact is, many nations and peoples are still underrepresented. And data poverty shuts out many. We at CGTN are committed to transcending the information gap and the digital divide. CGTN, bridging nations and civilizations. CGTN, see the difference.
Welcome back. This is our special program focusing on the upcoming Shanghai Cooperation Organization on CGTN. It's called Shoreline Talks. I'm Tian Wei. Let's continue our discussion. Let's go to the trade issue. Just as an example, as everybody has to do trade, and the tariff war is the biggest news in the headline, all countries are trying to work out a plan with the United States, either through groups or through individually or bilaterally. Meanwhile, international law, international norms are being violated as we speak, even though WTO still exists, but we have seen that it has been running into difficulties. So all of this make us think, what can SCO do?
Well, I think the whole system needs to be upgraded so that there is an alternative microclimate, if you like, for trade that is taking place that allows countries to stand up for the principle of international law, principle of sovereignty, and so on. When there is the opportunity for them to come together, upgrade their mechanisms, I think address some of the internal issues, maybe create a unit for mediation between them so that trade and security are really, really tied together. They are not going to happen. Internal trade within the bloc will not happen if there is still instability and border tension between the bloc members. And that's why the West exploits that. Everybody is trading with the West, bypassing their neighbors, rather than doing more across the borders within the bloc and spread prosperity and ownership of technology and so on amongst the 42% of the world's population.
Yeah, I just want to add that I absolutely agree with Professor Barakat. And facing tariff-related wars, the SCO can play a key role in creating faster, safer, and more cost-efficient trade routes between our countries, not just with the US. It's not the only country in the world right now. So, and for example, for Kazakhstan, the priority is developing and modernizing transit corridors that connect China and Europe, that connect China and other countries. Also, we need a new roads through Afghanistan. We need the roads between all our countries in our like Eurasia region. And I think that such as like Trans-Caspian International Transport Road right now is developing much faster than before. So, and this it will be the answer on this tariff wars and this, like, you know, the problem is that the tariff like might be the, you know, very long problem for all our countries, not only for it can use not only Trump administration, it can use in the future, and we need the answer not just for now, we need the answer on this tariff wars for the future from our countries.
Sustainable answers. Thank you. Professor Rong, your thoughts on the same question?
Well, I think when the Shanghai Cooperation was launched, the very rationale or the purpose is to find a different way to address the questions or the problems that are dividing us. I mean, we're talking about the Shanghai Five, the territorial disputes, and so on and so forth, and hope that with the agreement or consensus on that, these countries can work together as a group to address, to find a way, to address the common challenge. At that time, development. I think 20 years and more later, the questions, the challenges will remain. But seems that we have now had a debatable sort of thinking. How to understand, or most important, how we can manage these differences. Either because of the tension of the bilateral disputes within the region, within the members, and also the impact created by the outside the United States in particular. So I would argue that first and foremost, let us go back to the original purpose. Trust, mutual benefit, cooperation are the most important thing.
And that's also relying to, that also applies to trade.
Yes,
because we're talking about trade here. Professor Singh, your thoughts also on this. Everybody is using trade as an example. Will this example work in a way to show that SCO now come to consensus, whether it is about the United States, the tariff war, or whether it is about within themselves and the future solutions?
It's a shared problem of all 20 countries that are going to be sitting in Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit. And since the whole world is exploring and searching for alternatives, intra-SCO trade must go up. They must create facilitation of funds or whatever to increase mutual investments as well. And this can happen irrespective of some of the members maybe having tensions between themselves.
I see. Great point. Go to you, Mr. Sun.
Like the professor in Beijing, he mentioned that we need to go back to when we start the cooperation. What is the purpose? Because that is just a mechanism that we need to use to promote more like sustainable development and more solidarity in the world.
I see.
And what we have right now is the United Nations and is the WTO. So that should be the main mechanism to support WTO and the main mechanism to support more United Nations. I believe United Nations is still one of the best mechanisms, but we can use more support from the Shanghai Cooperation to support the existing mechanism.
I see.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Professor Botros.
Yes, if I refer back to my first statement, stating that economic interests supersede political ideologies. So how to make this viable? The collaboration needs a platform. So the BRICS Plus and the Belt and Road initiatives and summits are platforms for economic interests, exchange economic interests for the member countries and even the observers. So how can I do this in dynamics, in actual actionable steps. The actionable steps is the de-dollarization of the international trade, the non-dollar bilateral trade, even sometimes barter trade. All those actions, all those measures led to a decline, a drastic decline of the percentage of the dollar in the foreign exchange currencies, global foreign exchange currencies, from 90% to 58% in 2024. This drastic drop shows how viable are the dynamics and actionable procedures done by the platforms in the petrodollar, in the, as I mentioned, the de-dollarization, barter exchange, and the bilateral agreements. Not only the multilateral, but also, I would say, the bilateral non-dollar agreements exceed drastically the multilateral agreements. So this is a success for the Global South, success for the economic platforms created by such an initiative.
More investment and stronger regional security.
Consultations and mutual respect and so on.
We cannot avoid any voice. I mean, we cannot avoid any countries.
Collaboration, harness, and enhance inter-nation development.
I think it's a great opportunity, the meeting in China, to revisit some of those priorities.
Solidarity and the unity of SCO.
Professor Rong, we have seen over the years different groups of the Global South being formed. SCO certainly is one of those, together with the BRICS as well. There are many other regional and global South organizations popping up as we speak. But the question is, we are likely to see the change of this world going through decades. It's not going to be a once-of-a-time result immediately. So this is going to be a turbulent time, ups and downs. How will this summit be relevant? Also has to do with whether the solutions it provides are sustainable, whether it provides better opportunities for everyone to be more attracted to this organization in a sustainable way. So on that, let me know your thoughts as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think, as I said at the very beginning, high expectations, high anticipations, but we have to be very practical. I think I would expect to see, as we conclude the summit, and look at the documents, first and foremost, the so-called, I guess it's a Tianjin Declaration. And then another important document called 10-year development plan for SCO. Then we'll be going to have a good answer. But I'm expecting, first and foremost, it will set the direction, strategic directions on the question of how relevant SCO is going to be, given the aspirations, given the anticipations in the decades, years and decades ahead. This is very much important. This is the mission of the summit leaders meeting like that. So definitely we'll be there. But the equally important is specific, actionable, deliverable result. In this regard, I think trade definitely is one, but I suspect that we may get some very concrete things because trade is more complicated. The idea like the free trade zones of SCO has been there many years, and I don't think it is the right way, even though we can continue talking about it. But there are other areas, I think, deliverable actions we can expect.
Like a bilateral zone.
Yeah, bilaterally, definitely, multilaterally, or unilaterally, because some of the members are also so-called China and Central Asia cooperation, so on and so forth. And even on the sectors, as they are altogether, we're talking about 26 members. And last but not least, on the question of development issues, for example, that the idea of having a Shanghai Cooperation Bank, development bank, has been there for quite some years. So on the question of finance, on the question of, and also of course the settlement issue, not the deal dollar, but possibly the settlement issues of how to use the local currencies, so on and so forth. That would prepare the ground to push for the reforms. Plus the connectivities, the BRIs, the ground that have been laid. That is something I think we can practically and realistically expect.
I see. Professor Singh, it seems that there are already existing deliverables. The question is whether to take advantage of it as a group or not.
Indeed, if you look at China's on trade with the Shanghai Cooperation Organization member states, in last 24 years, it has gone up 28 times. So we are not starting from ground zero. There's already about $350 billion of trade that China today has with SCO members. What we are all saying today is that given the scenario where much of the world is dealing with this unusual situation of Trump's tariffs, all 20 countries that are going to be sitting in Tianjin are also countries facing the same reality. They will have to focus much more on trade facilitation, market access, technology sharing, and so on, so that they can help each other in enhancing not just these 20 countries, but also much of the larger global South countries to enhance South-South cooperation. United Nations has an office for South-South cooperation, for example. Many of these countries can also help streamline that office.
Yeah.
So trade, I think, is going to be a major focus this time of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, along with other issues. It's not that they will not talk about climate change. It's not that they will not talk about terrorism or energy security and other issues. But trade focus will be, I think, inordinately different this time when summit meeting meets in Tianjin. And some of these are powerful economies, powerful energy suppliers, powerful energy consumers. They can definitely enhance, as Professor Barakat just said, Middle East countries are no longer supplying oil to Western G7 countries. They are supplying much more to the countries in the East Asia, Indo-Pacific region. So how they can enhance their mutual advantage and help each other, that is where the very template, the very conceptualization of Shanghai Cooperation Organization is new and more contemporaneous.
Okay, let's go to Mr. Baigaliyev. The reason I ask you is very on purpose, because if I remember right, the trade between Central Asia and China, just as an example, two neighbors, were not certainly as high as it is today. But after years of efforts, through the trust of SCO members and also other mechanisms, China Central Asia mechanisms, it seems that the number is going very high now. And it's not just about trade numbers, but also technology, infrastructure. The list goes on. So it seems that, sir, your country and your neighbors are setting a great example as to how to translate abstract words into real deliverables and make it happen through action.
Yeah, of course. First of all, I want to repeat this idea that tariffs and trade shouldn't use as a blackmailing, shouldn't use as an instrument of how we can destroy each other's economic. So, and our neighborhood is a good example of how to work. Even our economics not related. I mean, of course, China is the most powerful economy in the world right now, but we can trade absolutely efficient, and we can help each other in really same questions. So and we do it step by step in all the organizations. And first of all, of course, the main impact of our development is Shanghai organization right now, and our investment, and also I want to underline the idea of the summit Central Asia plus China, which really helps us to develop our investment policy in our countries, and it's really strengthened our partnership in our region.
Before we go, one final sentence from every one of you. Mr. Baigaliyev.
Yeah, I like the idea that we need more action, and I hope that the next summit, it will be about actions and about efficient.
Thank you. Mr. Botros.
In the 17th century, the rapprochement starts by royal marriages. In the 19th century is political ideologies. In the 21st century, it's the economy.
All right. Go to you, Professor Barakat.
Build trust amongst the members and make the bloc has a voice or effective globally.
Professor Singh.
I think this is after 7 years that Indian Prime Minister will be visiting China to attend SCO Summit meeting. And as world's largest population country and fourth largest economy, I'm sure he's looking forward to making his contribution to make SCO really potent and useful today, and also see that if bilateral relations can improve much faster than they have been in recent times.
We hope bilateral relationship all work within SCO among its members in this multilateral regional group. Now, also go to you, Mr. Sun.
This year's topic is very important already. I mean, the Sustainable Development Goal is very important already because our world is, we are facing many problems, we are facing many wars, and we are facing many crises in the world. So to ensure that all countries are living in sustainable and peace and stability in the world is very important for our people and for our human being.
The final word, my final word would be solidarity and the unity of SCO as being consolidated and being translated into concrete, actionable results that would highlight the not only the commitment of SCO, but more important, the Global South as a whole, that is going to make a huge difference for this fast-changing and uncertain world.
Thank you so much for all your contribution. And that's all the time we have for today. For our special program on CGTN focusing on the upcoming Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO Shoreline Talks. I'm Tian Wei. On behalf of my team, thanks for being with us. If you'd like to find out more about the program, search for World Insight and also find us on X and Facebook. Thanks for being with us.